Hi, I'm James Jacoby, founder of Profit Accelerator, and I wanted to share with you just a really short 5-minute training with you today that's going to absolutely add value to what you're doing in your business and hopefully give you a few ahas that you can take and make effective change right away. So let's get into it. So today I want to share with you three keys for exponential growth in your business. And these are very simple things by nature, but most people, most business owners do not actually do this. And the problem in today's market is you're so busy, you're running in 20 different directions, you're scatterbrained, and you really don't have a lot of time, and you have very little, if nothing left in terms of additional marketing money and resources to promote and grow your business. So you got to work with what you have, right? So if you want to grow your business this year, and that's a goal for you, and that could be double, it could be earn 6 figures for the first time, that could be jumping from low 6 figures to mid 5 figures, that could be from going to 7 figures or 8 figures. Whatever that leap is for you, it's a leap. And leaps require what? Change. And something's got to change if you're going to grow. If you do what you did last year and just repeat, guess what you get? The same thing, right? So what are the 3 keys to exponential growth in business? Well, it's actually really quite simple. Number 1 is you have to increase the number of clients that you get. That may seem very obvious, but it's true. You must increase the number of clients that you get. The other way you can achieve exponential growth in your business is if you increase the size of the transaction, the size of the sale. If you make more in your services and programs and goods than you did before, you increase the price, or you were able to multiple sell the same customer for a larger lifetime value. Number 3 is the frequency. How often does it take you to get a client, the acquisition of a client? Does it take you a month? Does it take you 2 months? Does it take you a week? What if you were to shorten that sales cycle in half or in 3/4? That would then change the game, right? So these are the 3 key things. Write this down, and also write down this. This is a quote. And this is the reality in today's business and the way we are in the what we call the IP age, the intellectual property age, and that is that it's no longer the big box companies, the big companies that eat the small. That was in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. But now it's the fast that consume the slow. And this is true. If you look at the numbers, every year there's about 15 new Fortune 500 companies that come into play. That means 15 fall out. No different in small business either. There's a very high turnover rate. There's a very high rate that you won't last 3 to 5 years in your business. If you can make it past 5, you have a very strong chance of making it to 10. So we really got to focus on having a success rate in the first 5 years that sets us up for long-term, sustainable, predictable growth, right? So we got to address these 3 areas. This is how you grow your business. It's the only way you can. It's the only way you can. So what do you need to do? Well, let's look at an example. Let's say you charged, let's just use those 3 principles, right? And let's just say right now you make $1,000 for a client, okay? And this is, you make it once a month. So the frequency, here's the value. The frequency, we'll call that F, is once a month, right? And if the 3rd variable we said we have to do is we have to increase the size of the transaction. So what we're going to do is we're going to change a couple variables. We're now going to say, you know what, instead of 1,000, we're going to start charging 2,000. We're making 2,000 per client. How do we do that? I'll get into that in a second. Well, if we did just that alone, we would double our revenue if we did this for every client, correct? Yes. Now let's say I can't do that. I don't feel comfortable raising my prices like that. Well, let's look at another variable. If it's a month, how can we turn the month into 2 weeks, right? So now if you were making $1,000 a month and now you're making $1,000 every 2 weeks, you then get the same result. You start making $2,000 a month instead of 1,000. That makes sense. That works, right? So what if we did both? What if we actually went back to 2,000, shortened the time, and well, let's do this real quick. What do we get? 2,000, 2,000. Now we're at 4,000. That's just with one client. But what if now we get 2 clients a month instead of 1? So just 1 more client a month. Now we're talking about 8,000 instead of 1,000. So if you were to change one little pivot for each of those variables, you can see a huge quantum growth in your revenue line from 1,000 to 8,000. That's exponential growth. So what does that look like, right? What does that look like? If this is our graph here, and this is your business line right now, here's your revenue line, right? And you're doing 1 client a month for $1,000, right? Here's your time out here. This is a month. And here's your line right here. This is 1,000 right here in this line that gets you out to this spot. Well, what we want to do in business modeling, in any business, it doesn't matter what you sell, any service-based business especially, we want to change the model. We want to put exponential growth into the equation so that you can grow and scale with predictability and also to absorb the disruption that's happening in the market every single day. And that is happening. And if you haven't felt disruption yet, it's coming. If you just look at the last 20 days of the first 20 days of the year, what occurrences have happened to you personally that's disrupted your day for an hour or for a day or for longer? Was it someone's needing more of your time? Did you get sick with the flu or anything else? Did someone pass away? Was there new stresses that came into your life? Well, professionally, what happened? Did you get clients or lose clients? Did you have to fire somebody? Did you lose a job? Think about all the different things that can happen professionally. Look at the disruption of the last 21 days, okay? The problem is we want to grow our business, but in doing so, we need to focus more. And with disruption, it makes it really hard because this disruption really catches our energy and our attention. And it's really hard to grow and scale when life happens. Well, the reality is life's going to keep happening. And if you went through your annual planning and you're ready for the year and you're gung-ho about your goals, if you look back a year ago, could you foresee everything that happened to you last year, this time last January? No way, right? So why would you expect anything to change now? You can't. Unless you have a skill set that none of us have and see the future. No one can see the future. Things are going to change and not go the way you think they are. So just admit that disruption is going to happen in your life and your business. To what effect and how big, that can vary, but it's definitely going to happen. So what we want to do is be more strategic in our business modeling and build a business that allows for comfortability, cushioning, and predictability, so that when something happens, if I got to go to the hospital, if I have to make a trip across country to go see a relative, if I have to do an emergency funding for my business, or whatever it is, to pay off a big debt, whatever it is, you want to have a huge cushion in our business model that allows for that insurance to take care of those things, that doesn't kill us with the disruption of life, right? And when you use the 3 keys for exponential growth in this model, you start to see very quickly that instead of 1,000, now we're talking about, here's 2 weeks right here. There's 2 weeks. And here's 8,000 up here, just to use that example, right? So there's, in half the time, look at that quantum growth and that gap. That's an 8x difference in growth. You grew twice as fast and 8 times as much in value. That is huge. And that's what we teach in Profit Accelerator with all of our clients, no matter what kind of business they have, because It's actually sound business principles. So the key is you have to, in order to start doing this, you can't just all of a sudden raise your prices and just do it. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, you can't just wave a magic wand, but you can do some very simple things that will allow you to do that. And just to give you a couple examples of results that I've personally seen doing this now in several different businesses. When we upscaled our business model like this, we were able to build a $7 million book of business in a brand new market with a brand new service. The market didn't know who we were. We disrupted competition, and we built a $7 million book of business in 18 months. And it was incredible. And the same thing now. We in our consulting business, we disrupted the market, and we built a fast-growing consulting company out of the gate with high-priced programs and services. And we're absolutely in the top 1% in performance for our industry category. So we're doing fantastic. You can be in the top 1% in your category. So here's what you have to do. You have to reevaluate the problem that you're solving and solve a better one. You can stay in the same industry, but you have to solve a bigger problem better than anybody else. You have to work on your positioning in the market and perfecting your messaging. Essentially, what you want here, the key thing here is you want to do what others won't do, can't do, or wouldn't think of doing. Write that down. You want to do what others won't do, can't do, or wouldn't think of doing. And you want to do things that your competition is failing to do in the negative perception of the marketplace. That's where you want to position your company, away from the bad, in a place where you're doing something that's really valuable and better than anyone else, and you stand out, which then leads to re-engineering your competitive advantage so that it's so powerful and your clients and your market sees it very clearly. And then you want to sell a high-priced premium program. In your current business, you can do this in your business. You just have to shift some things, but this is how you do it. These are the steps. These are the steps that we would walk you through. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that opens your mind up a little bit. If you'd like to learn more about how to sell premium programs in your company and in your industry with what you're really, really good at, I have a free resource for you. It's actually a private report. We don't mass market this. You can't find it anywhere. You have to directly contact myself and my organization to get this. But I will offer a free report to you to read if you'd like to learn more about how to re-engineer and create exponential growth for your company, your brand, your business, so you can get results like this. Just reply report and send me your email address, and we'll get that to you as soon as possible. Have a great day.